Question 1 says to drag the circle around the part of the text that is the output overflow icon that can be used to thread the overflow text from one area to another text area. What this question is referring to is that when you have too much type in a picture or in a text box, you're going to get a little symbol on the bottom right-hand corner. It looks like a red plus sign. That means there's extra overflow. That's all this is referring to. And that also means, if you turn on this help layer, right, that I could thread my text technically and put multiple columns. And we've done threaded text before, but that's the symbol it's referring to. The next question tells you to label each picture that demonstrates a design term. So let's start off with radial symmetry. Radial symmetry means that it is symmetrical all through the radius, circularly. And out of these three, the one that is symmetrical through the radius would be the starfish. Texture-wise has to do with the implication of what something feels like, even though it's flat. And out of these two, this seashell has a lot of texture in it. And focal point literally means what are you drawn to in this image? And you should be drawn to the seashell here. It's kind of put offside to be more interesting. The next question tells you to use the background layer to create contrast while designing an infographic, but you don't want to print it. So it's asking you to make the background layer non-printable without using outline mode. So let's go to our layers panel here on the side. Let's find the layer that says background and let's double click a little bit, not on the word, but right next to it. There is an option in your layers option to either print or not print. We want to uncheck print because we don't want this to print. So even though it's visible, it will not print if we print this document. The next question tells you to create a specific type of document. So it says a web graphic. We're going to go to File, New to make a document. We're going to look under the banner up here that says Web and follow the information. It says 4 artboards, so I'm going to type 4 artboards here. But then it has some additional information that we haven't seen before. It says spacing 40 pixels, columns 4. If you scroll down, you should have a button that says More Settings all the way in the bottom. If you go in here, you can have a very, very customizable design or page, and spacing should be here, and columns should be here. Hit Create Document. Now for the sake of this, you're just going to save this and upload this when you upload the file to Google Classroom. Let's go back to the main document. The next question says to create a gap in the vectors that form the letter O in the word power using the red rectangle. Use the reference image as a guide. This right here is your reference image. So basically you want this to look like this. So we're going to need some shape builder here. I'm going to select both. And unlike the other practice questions where I said you can't use shape builder, you can use it in this case. So the shape builder is over here on the side. The quick key is Shift M. And we want to kind of cut out the orange shape from the black shape to get this kind of button looking thing. Remember to hold down Alt to remove. And that's how you get something that looks like the image. Next question. It says to position the daisy symbol from the flower symbol library on either side of the shape. Your key here is the word symbol. So let's pull up our symbols panel under Window where all our panels are located. Let's access our library, which is always the button on the left-hand corner, and find the one that says flowers. Now we need to know which one is the daisy. If we hover our mouse over the pictures, it will tell us. So this is the daisy, and it's set on either side of the shape. So one on this side, one on this side. It doesn't say to resize or anything like that, so that's all you have to do. This next question is interesting. It says to remove all stray points from the document. That means if someone was like drawing on the side and forgot to erase things, it's kind of getting rid of them. To do that, we're going to go up to Object. We're going to hit Path, and we're going to have this option to clean up. When you hit clean up, you'll get 3 things you can clean up. We don't need this. We just want the stray points. That just means little extra anchor points that nothing happened to. We're going to press OK, and it says no cleanup was necessary. That's fine. Okay, but on the test, this is one of the questions that might pop up. The next question is saying that you're designing for an iPad Pro and you to make it accessible in both portrait and landscape orientations to change the artboard name horizontal to landscape. So we're going to need to be in our either window artboards panel. We're going to find the one that says horizontal, and we can double click on it right here and change where it says orientation to landscape. Landscape just means it's wider than it is taller, and I can press OK. And I should be able to tell because now it looks really wide. I can also do it this way on the side, hit Edit Artboards, and do the same thing. Either way will work. Okay. Next question tells you to use the upper left reference point in the Transform panel to move the elements on the layer design to a new position and it gives you some X and Y values. So let's go to the layer design right here. And we can either like make a box around it all or just hit this little circle target. And now the transform panel is usually in the properties panel right on the top left-hand corner. There should be an X and Y value. It's literally the location on the document. I'm gonna type in those numbers and hit enter. And it's just moving the object somewhere else on the page. Next question says to add the slogan, just do it to the curved path. Center the type on the path. So we're gonna be using our type on a path tool. We're gonna click, the path will disappear, that is very normal. The color disappears, and we're gonna type it exactly like we see it. It doesn't say to change the size or anything, so we're not. Now it says center the text on the path. That means we have to go to our center alignment in our paragraph panel, and that will center it, okay? Don't worry about the font or the color. The test doesn't tell you to change that, so you don't have to. Next question says that you are working on a logo and have placed a reference graphic on layer 2. Convert layer 2 to a template layer with the default settings and rename it reference image. Now we did this back when we did our self-portraits. So if we find a layer named layer 2, we're gonna double click on it. Not on the name of the layer, right next to it, this little blank space. To make a template layer, we simply have to click template, and then we have to rename it. It says to keep all the other settings the same, so that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna hit OK. That's all we have to do for that question. The next question says to use the corner point, match the logo to the reference sketch. This is your reference sketch. Do not add or remove any anchor points. So we basically have to make this look like this. We should be taking our direct selection tool, clicking on the bottom anchor point of that circle and just dragging it down so it meets the top of our eye. The next thing we want to do is make it more pointed, so we're just going to pull, I'm going to zoom in so you can really see, these little handles, because we don't want them rounded, we want them pointed. The next question tells you to change the color mode as well as the resolution. To change the color mode, we go up to File, Document Color Mode, and we swap it to CMYK. To change the resolution, we go up to Effect, Document Raster Effect Settings, and then we can hit Resolution right up here, and in this case, they want us to change it to Medium. The next question tells you to create a guide from the object below. It's quite simple. You just have to activate the object, go up to View, scroll down all the way to the bottom where it says Guides, and hit the option that says Make Guides. It will make a guide based on your shape, and the color will disappear. Guides are always like this bright blue, and it's just letting you know that now it is in fact a guide. The last question in this practical is to adjust the image so that the flower does not cover the text. Use a 14-point offset value. So basically, if you zoom in here, the picture is wrapping around the words, and that's exactly what we're doing. We're doing something called a text wrap, which we did a few months ago. To do this, we're going to select both objects. We're going to go up to Object, Text Wrap, Make. We're going to hit OK. It's going to push a little shape around the flower so that the text isn't on top of it. But now it says to make the offset value 14. To do that, we're going to go back to Object, Text Wrap Options, so we can set this to 14. I already have it there as 14. You may not. Press OK. And that's all you're going to be doing for this practical practice.